Hey, Kraut.
Teacher should have an authorized firearm.
We all should know that adding crossfire to any situation rarely makes it safer, but I expected the show to also point out that bullets ricocheting off of a soup is a very real and lethal possibility here.
Discount Jeremy still somehow doesn't understand that Vought doesn't actually care about keeping people safe. Jesus Christ, this is the season finale of season 2. How do you not get it yet?
Wait for a hero.
In the words of the late great Tina Turner, we don't need another hero. We don't need to know the way home. All we want is a life beyond.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture ref.
The anxious boy? Really? With the moist handshake?
Using more. I can't even say it. Just don't use that word.
Discount Jeremy has the same maturity as a boy in middle school.
You know, I always say, why do this crazy?
Frenchie has literally never said that once before now.
Right, but if the show is telling us that he says this, then he does say it, just off camera. What the hell are you on?
Smile. This is good news.
Telling someone to smile. Just f***ing stop doing that. Everyone!
While I agree with this sentiment, it's still not a sin of the episode. People do this all the time.
Never gonna hurt you.
Yeah, but Huey, you could have gotten yourself killed. I mean, after the way that I treated you, you had every reason to give up on me.
Huey lied and essentially used Starlight as bait. She had every f***ing right to treat him like shit after finding that out. Is this show really trying to make it out like Starlight was the one in the wrong here? Because that is f***ed.
The show isn't suggesting that. A character within the show is suggesting that. Subtle but important difference.
You could split that shit like dry firewood.
My boner is nervous but intrigued.
Discount Jeremy says and has a boner.
Coke with lime, right? Yeah. We've heard a lot about you.
You've heard about her beverage of choice? Doesn't strike me as something Butcher would have brought up in conversation.
Except the show is telling us right now that he did mention it. So why are you contradicting the show? Do you think Butcher has never made small talk with the boys? I mean, sure, he doesn't do it a lot, but that doesn't mean he never does it at all.
My mom's not dead.
She's not? Oh, it's just you never mentioned her, so...
She left when I was 6. That's where Billy Joel comes from.
I think the lesson here is f*** moms who ditch their families, and moms that turn their kids into Billy Joel fans.
What do you have against Billy Joel? You know what, this is actually a great time to address one of the bigger problems with TVSins. They seem to think that hating everything is somehow funny. Some things, yes, they had a decent joke about the Detroit Lions earlier, but arbitrarily hating everything gets very tedious and annoying very fast. At a certain point, it just becomes cringeworthy. The next 2 sins in a row are both just pointing things out on the screen because the TVSins writers couldn't come up with anything decent.
You are the strongest man in the world and you're scared of a little boy.
Thinking that giving a child space when he or she wants to be left alone is the same as being frightened of said child.
Why is thinking this a sin? Sure, it's not an accurate thing to think, but I'll remind you that you're sinning the boys, not real life. Characters being flawed isn't a mistake of the show, especially when that character is a literal Nazi. If you're advocating for a Nazi to be a perfect person, there's something wrong with you.
I love you.
It is truly touching to see Homelander trying to be a good father, but I do not like being touched by Homelander.
Considering Homelander literally raped Becca, this joke is a little insensitive. Now, I'm all for a good insensitive joke once in a while, but I'm saying this for being hypocritical, seeing as TVSins constantly complains about insensitive things in TV shows.
We got him in a cabin up in Rochester.
A fate worse than death.
Hating things is funny because I said so.
I think this episode wants us to know they have guns.
Sinning suit-up scenes. This shit is always badass, I don't care what anyone says.
Becca, you ain't coming with us.
Characters told they can't come, but they end up talking their way into coming, and then they are dramatically killed. Cliché.
Nice try, but that's not a cliche.
There's one thing I know, is that you can take care of yourself. So when the time comes, you'll know what to do.
This bullshit pseudo-inspirational speech works.
And do you want to explain why it's bullshit, or why it shouldn't work? If not, then you can't count it as a sin.
Of course I dance. What is the point of life without dancing?
Overrating how important dancing skills are. And am I...
Skip.
No! If they were so close that getting to Homelander's cabin was just a quick drive down the road, how did he not hear them? They weren't being that quiet and there was no one else around. Their voices should stand out among the sound of trees.
It's incredible to me that you still somehow manage to misunderstand superpowers. Yes, Homelander has super hearing, but that doesn't mean he can automatically hear everything no matter what. He would still have to focus on a particular sound in order to process it. Not to mention we have no metric for how sensitive his hearing actually is, and we also don't know exactly how far away they are, so this entire sin is just completely arbitrary nonsense.
That's my husband.
Cracking open this bag of worms when they have zero time for it.
What would you rather have her say? Stop asking questions, you little shit?
The hell are they doing back here?
The plan just changed. And you're the only one I trust for them.
Butcher comes back here because he changed his mind about giving Ryan to Edgar. But aside from telling him about it, why was it even necessary for him to come back after having a change of heart? MM and Becca survive this. Seatbelts ain't that good, and it doesn't look like a single airbag even went off.
Okay, there's no way you can tell if any airbag's deployed. You can't see well enough into the car to determine that. As for them surviving this, I definitely think they should have more injuries, but it's definitely survivable. Humans can be pretty tough.
I'm a gun person, Frenchie, but even I know it's hard to get a shot off when the cylinder's open.
Finally, a genuine mistake. It's disappointing that it took over 6 minutes just to get one good sin, but I'm feeling generous, so take a sin back.
Stormfront could kill all three of them with a flick of her wrist, but instead chooses to just stun them because they are the main characters.
What do you mean she could kill them with a flick of her wrist? We've been shown multiple times that her lightning alone doesn't kill people, or at the very least it would take an incredibly long time. She can kill people by hand with her super strength, but then she'd have to get a lot closer to them and risk bodily harm to herself. Like, you know, what happens when Becca stabs her in the eye?
Kraut.
More punchy action between two people with probably equal superhero powers. You know how f***ing much we love that around here.
Yeah, nobody actually knows why you complain about this. You've never explained why this is bad. You constantly claim that it's bad, but you never actually justify your claims. And if you can't justify something, I've got to sin it.
Why is Starlight punching and kicking instead of starlighting? I honestly no longer know what is going on in this fight. Holler at me when someone wins. I'm gonna go play Mike Tyson's Punch-Out in the meantime. At least when I beat Glass Joe, I f***ing understand how it happened.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop. Also, did you already forget that Starlight's powers rely on electricity? How much electricity do you think grass and dirt can provide?
Butcher continues to survive season finales where people want to and have every opportunity to kill him, but just don't.
Again, I don't know what you're not understanding about Stormfront trying to avoid bodily harm. Butcher is one of the worst people to get into a hand-to-hand fight with, even if you are a soup. I'd be shocked if he didn't pull a move like Becca does.
Love you, Ryan.
Stormfront's eye doesn't even try against this knife, even though bullets bounce off of her body. What are the rules here?
Bruh, there's absolutely no way you just asked what the rules are, when the show literally just showed us what the rules are. Her body is bulletproof, but her eyes clearly aren't. How difficult is that for you to understand? Jesus.
Even if you're pretty sure Maeve's threat worked, maybe don't walk this close to the psychotic killer when you've got an entire wooded area to walk through.
I don't know why you think this is a sin. If Maeve's threat worked, then it doesn't really matter where he walks.
I think it's time I go off, stand on my own 2 feet for once.
This he's leaving her fake out is super sinnable.
We'll just be friends then.
Oh God, no.
And skippable.
And yet, despite how easy it is for you to sin, you refuse to actually provide any sort of reason for why it's a sin. It's almost like you can't think of a genuine reason, so you're just relying on your audience not wanting to use their brains.
Giving someone a trinket of their dead parental and telling them it means said dead parental will always be with them. Cliché.
That's not a cliche.
Finally, we get to see the identity of the secret scanner, and it's, Victoria, is it? Too many characters.
Jesus Christ. The best part of this video is when Discount Jeremy straight up admits that he's stupid and then blames the show for it. Seriously, I'm not a very smart person, but I have absolutely no trouble keeping track of all the characters in this show. At this point, I'm shocked that Discount Jeremy even knows how to breathe.
You Campbell.
Damn, I thought this finale was done finaleing when Homelander finale'd it all over the city, but it just won't finale.
Ah, yes. Saying finale many times is funny because words are funny when they get repeated. Wait, what?
You can give me a job.
Never thought the second season would end on something as bland as Huey asking for a job from a newly appointed congresswoman, but here we are.
And how is this bland? We just learned that Victoria is a head-popping soup, and the main character just got a job from her, but you're complaining about it being bland? What is wrong with you?
I said certified freak. 7 days a week. Wet ass P word. Make that pull-out game weak. Yeah, you effin' with some wet ass P word. Bring a bucket and a mop for this wet ass P word.